Good morning. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living here on Airport Boulevard. We're so glad you're here this morning, in person, online, however you're participating, because this helps us set the stage for what's going to happen next. My name is Marianne Atwell Hardy. I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner here, and I'm going to start the way we always do with a reading. And then we'll come back out. So today's reading is from Joyce Meyer, and she's talking about how to succeed at being yourself. It's tough to enjoy life when you don't like yourself. People who haven't learned to accept and get along with themselves tend to have more difficulty accepting and getting along with others. Yet the Bible repeatedly says to love your neighbor as yourself. For years, I had a hard time getting along with people until I finally realized through the Word of God how my difficulty with other people was actually rooted in my difficulties with myself. The Bible says a good tree will bear good fruit, and a rotten tree will bear rotten fruit. That's from Luke. Likewise, the fruit of our lives comes from the root within us. If you're rooted in shame, guilt, inferiority, rejection, lack of love, etc., the fruit of your relationships will suffer. However, once you have a revelation of God's unconditional love for you and begin to accept yourself and others, eventually these new roots will produce good fruits and your relationships will thrive. People with a high level of confidence have just as many weaknesses as people without confidence, but they concentrate on their strengths, not their flaws or weaknesses. In conclusion, let me remind you of my opening statement. It's tough to enjoy life when you don't like yourself. When you learn to succeed at being yourself, you'll be well on your way to enjoying life more fully. So settle in. Take a deep breath in all the way to your belly. Valuing each breath that we have. Each is unique and different and brings a little bit different information about where we are. Whatever that is, it's absolutely fine. Take some more. Take another deep breath. And just take the reading into meditation, knowing that you are divine just the way you are. You're unique. You are loved. And it's our privilege to feel that love that God gives each one of us. So now we're just going to get quiet and listen to some meditative music for about 15 minutes. absolutely amazing and unique. And there's no one else in the universe that's like you. And God loves you for that as an emanation of the divine. I just ask you to come back very gently, come into the room, and open your eyes if you're ready. And we'll have about 15 minutes before the service starts at 10:15. So please join us at that time. And again, thank you for being here.
are, and that we do have this power to really um, create the experiences of our lives. And for me, that's the really good news, because if I don't like the experience that I'm having, then that means that I can change it. Change your thinking, change your life is so much more than just a bumper sticker. So we're very glad that you have come to join us today. Today, the first Sunday of the month, we always do a flower dedication for those people that are celebrating their birthday in March. So, is there anybody in the room that is celebrating their birthday this month? Ooh, number of people. All right, that's awesome. And so, you out there, if you have a birthday this month, where I'm also speaking directly to you. So while we would love to be able to speak all of your names into the room, we don't want to leave one single person off the list. So we're simply dedicating today's flowers, and aren't they absolutely beautiful, to everyone with a birthday in March. Now, see if this sounds like you. March born babies have a heart of gold. I think that would be yes. And can grow up to be generous and sympathetic. Once you come to know these people, you will eventually understand just how big their heart is. They are ever ready to lend their support to those who genuinely need assistance. For them, serving others is a way to serve mankind and to spread love. People born in the month of March are extremely lively, and they know how to live their lives to the fullest. These people love meeting new people and getting to know them. They believe in making the best memories and enjoying every single moment of their lives. Although people born in the month of March are quite amiable and lively, they actually prefer peaceful environments. They will choose serenity over the hustle and bustle of the city. They will, in fact, love reading a nice book and sipping hot coffee rather than going to a party. Silence and peace are two things that they're really very fond of. They not only love spending time in nature, admiring the serene beauty of mountains, rivers, and vegetation, but they're also very keen in preserving it. In addition to this, they also love having a pet and shower love and care on whatever pets they have or whatever pets their daughter brings to their house for them to pet sit. They are intellectually inclined and born philosophers. They live their life with a practical approach and will motivate those in their lives to do the same. One of the best lessons that you will learn from these people is to live happily with whatever you have and find pleasure in the simplest of things. If you know someone who was born in the month of March, you will agree that these people are extremely adaptive. New and unfamiliar environments never intimidate these people. In fact, they try to adjust to the new environment and among new people through a positive and lively approach. No matter what comes their way, people born in this month are quite positive. They never panic, even during the toughest situation. Instead, you will find them trying to solve problems through a positive approach. You will hardly ever find them worrying about what comes next. They always carry their positive aura and seem enthusiastic. They value their friendships and they make their friends seem special and important. And it is not only their friends, they are great and loyal partners as well. They put much effort into their relationships and try to make their partners feel loved and special in every moment. These people find solace in music. They not only love listening to it, but consider music as the best way to reduce their stress and feel energized. People born in the month of March are generous, creative, optimistic, and can adapt to any situation. To all of you with a birthday in March, we see you, we know who you really are, we celebrate you, and we love you. Happy birthday. So now, speaking of someone with a birthday in March, I'd love to thank Marianne Hardy for her beautiful meditation, for expanding the container that our service will unfold within. Thank you very much, Marianne. And now please welcome her back to the podium.
I did it. All right. Good morning, all you unique, creative, amazing individuals. Great to see every one of you. Our theme for the year 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our theme for the month of March is Cultivating Authenticity. And Rev Dusty's talk title today is Everyone Else is Already Taken. I'm now going to read this community's purpose statement, which is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. And that's the truth. So taking that into a moment of quiet, just to center ourselves, to open our hearts, open our ears. I invite you just to listen to the sound of the healing bells and healing bowls and follow the music all the way to the end.
Now I invite you to bring your attention back into the room and just open your eyes when you're comfortable. And I ask John and Diane Carnes to come forward to assist me. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. And so it is. Thanks, John and Diane. And now I invite you to close your outer eyes as I speak a blessing on the service. What a delightful, beautiful morning to come together here in the center of North Carolina with this loving congregation. And so I speak a blessing on everyone here and everyone within the sound of my voice, knowing that we are individual emanations of the one spirit, knowing that our lives are expressions of beauty, joy, and love. And I speak a blessing on Reverend Dusty as she comes forward to share her knowledge and wisdom and to be the vehicle of inspiration for everyone here. And I know that she is blessed as she does this work for our center. I speak a blessing on Sandy Hemingway as he brings his delightful gift of music and song, which always uplifts and inspires. And I speak a blessing on all the volunteers who helped make this possible, including Heather Abbott doing IV and everything else that anyone could possibly imagine, and all of you, knowing that we are truly blessed to be together. And so it is. The reading for today is from Mike Robbins. Fundamentally, authenticity is about being you fully. It's about being yourself, understanding, owning, acknowledging, appreciating, and expressing all of who you are, both the light and the dark. Being authentic is one of the most challenging yet important aspects of our growth as human beings. It involves being totally honest about ourselves and with others. When we're authentic, we're vulnerable, aware, open, curious, and truthful above all else. We're in touch with our thoughts and our feelings, our doubts and our fears, our dreams and our passions, and so much more. What's true for us is true for us. And when we know it and feel it within us, it doesn't need to be defended, just owned and ultimately lived. Wow. And it's my great privilege to introduce Sandy Hemingway.
Good morning, everyone. When I saw the topic of everyone else has already taken, my first thought was that sounds like a slogan for a dating site. But I don't have any songs for that. So I found this song by Daniel Nahmad. I think I've only ever played it once. I'm not even sure if I played it here, but it's called Gotta Be True. Am I nervous? Of course I am. You don't even have to ask. Chasing a mystery anyone would be. One more step and it's out of my hands. There can be no turning back. Can say what's in front of me and no, I can't wait to see. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't know what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. I gotta be, yeah, I gotta be true. I remember, of course I do, how I used to hear my heart. What I most want to be, what I most long to see. But that voice has faded so far away. I hardly recognize myself. What happened to me? No wonder I couldn't breathe. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't know what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. I gotta be true. It's been a long, long habit, gave away my power, playing follow the leader again and again. But my soul won't have it, I won't hide or cower. I'm ready to dive back in. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't care what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. It's gotta be true. It's gotta be true. It's gotta be true. Thank you.
Sandy, absolutely perfect song. So perfect, beautiful. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Daniel Nahmad. Let's give him another round of applause. That was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Thank you. So, as Marianne said earlier, the theme for the year, right, is living out loud. And to live out loud means to really fully express who we are and who we have come here to be. Seems pretty straightforward, pretty simple. This month, the month of March, is authenticity. Authenticity, cultivating authenticity. And throughout the month, we are exploring this idea of cultivating authenticity, which empowers us to step into all areas of our life in integrity from our authentic self. In her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, Brene Brown gives us a definition, and she says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Cultivating authenticity is not about becoming something other than who we are. Rather, it is about or involves releasing those patterns of thought or attitudes or actions that do not allow us to stand in our truth and in our power. They get in the way of that. And so we need to release them. Now that seems pretty straightforward. However, authenticity is often misunderstood. First off, it's unique and personal for each and every single one of us, and so that makes creating a definition that is universal a little tough. Second, what it means for us to be authentic changes over time as we grow and evolve. Our authentic self doesn't change, but what it means for us to be authentic changes over time through our evolution. We're not the same person as we were just yesterday in some cases. And third, due to the complex nature of real authenticity, many of us aren't willing to take an honest look at ourselves. And Sandy saying about that. Many of us are not willing to do that inner work. We're not willing to take that honest look. We're not willing to speak our truth. We're not willing to live a life that is truthful. This is also compounded by a number of misconceptions about authenticity that fill the collective consciousness of our human family. They make it more difficult to really live an authentic life. Now, Mike Robbins, in his book, Be Yourself, Everyone Else is Already Taken, says that that some of the ideas or some of the misconceptions can include the idea that in order to be authentic, I have to get in people's faces. And I have to tell them how I think and how I feel and let them know what's on my mind no matter what. Another misconception can be that I have to be unique and creative in every single moment of each and every single day. Or we might think that I have to know exactly what I want to do with my life, where I'm going, and what's important to me at all times. Or we might think that I have to be fearless and not care about what anybody else thinks about me ever. Or we might think that I have to be passionate and take risks in all areas of my life. Or that I have to be a loner and that it's someone that marches to the beat of their own drum. That I can't belong. That I have to be a loner. Or that I have to be cool. Or some people think that in order to be authentic, we have to have had a lot of really great dramatic obstacles in our life that we've overcome. Now, Mike Robbins says some of the items on the list can, in fact, be aspects of authenticity and important in our journey toward deeper realness. However, whenever we think that we have to do or be any particular way, chances are we're not being very authentic. While there's nothing inherently wrong with anything on that list, authenticity is much deeper than that. Much deeper than those misconceptions or those things that we think we have to be or should be or need to be. While my talk title is Everyone Else is Already Taken, the full quote is Be Yourself, everyone else is already taken, and is typically attributed to the Irish poet and playwright Oscar Wilde from his book, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Now, what I hear in this quote is we shouldn't waste our time copying, shouldn't waste our time living somebody else's life, that we can be the best version of only one person on the planet, ourselves. Each and every one of us is an individualized expression of the divine. Each and every single one of us has unique gifts and talents and qualities. Each and every single one of us has our own way of being creative and our own way of expressing it. Each and every single one of us has hidden jewels deep within us. And life is all about discovering them, identifying them, and bringing them out into the world so that other people can experience and can benefit from our uniqueness. If we don't bring forward that thing in our own particular way, it will not be brought forward. It will not be revealed to the world. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. And while it's easy enough to say, it can be scary. And it can be risky in a world that often feels like we're trying to put square pegs into round holes. It all starts with know thyself. And this is our first invitation today. Have you ever asked yourself or God or the universe, who am I? Who am I really? What am I all about? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Is there an essential me in here somewhere? Now, I believe that many of us are here today, sitting in this sanctuary or at home, listening to this message because we have asked ourselves these or other similar existential questions at various times in our lives. So let's begin there. What or who is the myself that I'm being encouraged to be? Richard Rohr, in his book, Immortal Diamond, The Search for Our True Self, talks about two selves. The first he calls the false self, and the second he calls the true self. Now, we might call the false self our small self, or our self with a small s. And some people might call it the ego. Our false self is how we define ourselves, who we think we are through our human perceptions in this world of form. It includes our body image, our job, our education, our clothes, our money, our car, our sexual identity, our successes, and so on. These are the trappings of the ego. These are the trappings of the small self that we all use in our human experience in order to be able to really get through an ordinary day. Richard Rohr calls the true self the soul. However, we might call it the true self, or we might call it the self with a capital S, or the spark of the divine, or the Christ consciousness within us. It is that aspect of ourselves that knows who and whose we are, even though we might not be always aware of it. We might be largely unconscious of it. The truth is that we all knew who we were when we arrived on the planet. We all knew whose and whose we were. But pretty soon the fog or the dirt or the grime or the illusion of the dream, as Miguel Ruiz would call it, obliterated our view of it, and we began to forget. And in some cases, we completely forgot altogether. Richard Rohr says, could human life's central task be a matter of consciously discovering and becoming who we already are and what we somehow unconsciously know? I believe so. Life is not a matter of creating a special name for ourselves, but uncovering the name that we always had. Robert Schwartz, in his book, Your Soul's Gift, implies that it's that way on purpose. That it's that way because our journey, our spiritual journey, is to come back home, is to make our way back home. And that somehow, because we have to do this, because we have to work hard for something, that it increases its value for us. You know, when you have to work for something in your life, can you think that, instead of having it just given to you, that it somehow has more value because of that? Now, like the prodigal son who had absolutely no idea what he had when he left, he was overjoyed, just overjoyed when he was welcomed back home again. Now, the true self is our absolute identity, and it is eternal. Unlike the false self, it never dies. Each of us, as well as everything else on the planet, was created by God out of God's substance, right? We have a blueprint of perfection at the center of our being. That true self, that spark of the divine. This is our true self, and it is, in its original, pure, primordial state, a hologram of the divine. A hologram of the divine in its fullness and in its wholeness. Nothing missing. Everything present. It's the pearl of great price that Jesus spoke about. A pearl that when we find it within ourselves, we will be willing to let go of everything else. Let me say that again. A pearl that when we find it within ourselves, we will be willing to let go of everything else. Can you feel that? Can you feel how peaceful that would be? We do not have to create our true self. We do not have to earn it. We do not have to work up to it through any kind of moral or ritual behavior. None of that. We do not have to climb our way up to it. We fall into it. It was simply given to us when we arrived on the planet as our birthright. And there were no exceptions. Everyone received it. Everyone and everything. No exceptions. Our true self is who we are in God and who God is in us. That which we long for, we already are. We already are. It is said, be yourself, everyone else is already taken. And while we might nod our head in agreement, or we might smile or even laugh at its silliness, of course. How simplistic is that? And yet, we often find ourselves sacrificing ourselves in order to fit in and for others to like us or for others to approve of us. The bottom line is that our false self is a social construct to get us started on our life's journey. It's an agreement between our childhood and our parents, or our families, or our friends, or our teachers, or our classmates, or our coworkers, or our culture, or our religion. The moment that we were born, our lives dramatically changed, right? Dramatically changed from the warmth of our mother's wombs, where everything we ever needed was met, to a world that seems so foreign to us. We were told to be like this, or we told to not be like that, so that we could meet the expectations of everyone around us, or so that we could even make some of them feel better about us. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book, The Four Agreements, refers to this process as domestication. Our authentic needs and wants became less important to how we thought we needed to be in order to fit in or in order to get along. Now, the false self is our container for our separate self, that self that feels separated from everything and everyone, which we know isn't true, and yet that's our perception. That's how that false self shows up, as a separate self. After we've spent so many years, right, so many years through this domestication process, really laboriously creating this false self, this separate self, with all of its labels and preoccupations, we're very attached to it, right? And you could see how that would be. I mean, why would it be any different? It's what we know, and in some cases, it's all that we know. To move beyond it will always feel like we're losing something, or perhaps even dying. But the truth is that the false self is always changing. It's always changing, little by little, subtly, but it's always changing. And when we are able to move beyond it in the right time and the right way, then it will feel precisely as though we've lost absolutely nothing. It won't matter. We'll have that pearl. We'll know that pearl intimately. And we'll feel like we've lost nothing, but we've gained everything. At the temple of Apollo in Delphi, it is inscribed, "Know thyself." And this is where we must begin when we cultivate authenticity. Sandy's song was perfect. Through self-inquiry, therapy, journaling, spiritual practices, and study, we create the space within us to awaken from domestication and to discover who we are instead of who we think we're supposed to be. We discover that our light has been hidden, perhaps hidden all of this time behind erroneous beliefs or old patterned ways of being, or thoughts that no longer serve us, or masks and identities that have been picked up along the way, along our journey of life. Things which actually cause us to shrink away from really living our lives out loud. Self-inquiry and spiritual practices brings awareness to ourselves about what is happening within ourselves in our responses to both internal and external stimuli. They assist us to get in touch with our thoughts and our feelings, which is absolutely necessary for us to really live a conscious life. We can't do it without that awareness. Each of us is a unique expression of the divine, and what stands between our authentic expression of who we truly are and how we show up are those thoughts, those old beliefs, those attitudes, those things that we have come to believe through our own living of life, or perhaps through what other people have told us. Through exploring our own inner selves with compassion and really practicing gratitude and acceptance of who we are, then we are poised to tell our truth. And through doing that, we discover a freedom that we perhaps have never known in our entire life, a freedom that comes from releasing the pressure that says that we have to be someone that we're not, that we have to be anything other than who we truly are. It is said, be yourself, everyone else is already taken, and yet it doesn't always feel safe to be authentic, to live our lives authentically. Often we learn that there are consequences to doing so, consequences to not fitting into the group, consequences to marching to the beat of our own drum. Our thoughts and our feelings might be different from those around us, and our instinct to survive and our need to belong is so strong that we end up feeling like we would rather hide our authentic self for fear of those consequences. Consequences that look like exile or not being accepted or not being able to belong or abandonment or having that feeling that we're not good enough or that feeling that we're unlovable. Starting with ourself as a spiritual being, we can start to recognize ourself as unique beings that are already whole, perfect, and complete. I mean, get it? We were created in the image and likeness of God. How much more whole, perfect, and complete can we be? Embracing all of ourselves, the parts that we like and the parts that we have been told we shouldn't like, opens the door to grace and to compassion for ourselves. Life is not asking us to be something other than who we are. And it's that self with a capital S, that longs to be revealed, that longs to be seen, that longs to be heard, that longs to be expressed. It's why we came here. But it's not always easy. So the second invitation is to cultivate compassion for ourselves. That we can begin to do this on our own pace and in our own time. Having that kind of compassion for ourselves is not always easy. You know, we usually find that it's much easier to have compassion for somebody else than it is to have compassion for ourselves. The bottom line is that, we are doing the very best we can at any given moment. Truly we are. That we're a unique expression of the divine, and if we would have known better, we would have done better. Therefore, we're encouraged to give ourselves the compassion that we would have no problem giving to someone else. The third invitation this morning is to cultivate courage and to be willing to be vulnerable. Think about it. It's not possible to be seen if we hide. And how many of us could honestly say that, we really just want to be seen. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be known. But when we hide, that will never happen. So in order to cultivate authenticity and no longer hide the parts of ourselves that we were afraid for others to see, courage and vulnerability are necessary. It can be scary and it can feel like a risk because it is. It is. The outcome is not within our control. Cultivating courage will support us when we take those risks. It will assist us as we try something new. It will assist us as we begin to open our hearts and to tell our stories. It will assist us when we need to stand in our own truth. It will assist us when we need to speak our own truth. Brene Brown writes, courage is a heart word. The root of the word courage is cor, C-O-R, the Latin word for heart. In one of its earliest forms, the word courage meant to speak one's mind by telling one's heart. A little different than how we think about it today. Now, there are days and there are situations and there are relationships in which we will have more courage than others. Right? I'm sure you can think about the times you were courageous and the times that you were not. Living out loud authentically will bring us to our growing edge. It will bring us to the edge of our comfort zone. Courage is feeling the feelings that come up for us in those moments and doing it anyway. Doing it anyway. Sandy, you said, that's why we came here. It's like, that's the purpose, right? Being in a spiritual community such as this, and surrounding ourselves with people that we trust supports our journey of cultivating courage. And it really allows us to step into our authenticity, and that allows others to do the same. And then we get to do it, and we get to be a witness to it, to support others as they do it too. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken means that we do not have to live anybody else's life. We have only to live our own. Emerson wrote, imitation is suicide. Imitation is suicide. This means to live a life as someone other than our authentic life is to not live our lives. Our own life, the life that we came here to live. And then that means that our gift, our song, our light dies within us. When we live as our highest self, we become free to do what we love. Reverend Scott Aubrey says, our lives are stories of how our authenticity comes to be and how it flows into its own unique and beautiful expression of the Divine One, that unique image of God that comes to birth once in a universe as us. It's beautiful. Now, I believe that in order to be ourselves, we have to embrace what we might call our weaknesses. We have to love what we might call our strengths, and we have to shine the light of healing on those things that we believed that we had to keep hidden. Shine the light of healing on them. Bring them out into the open. Embrace them. By taking up this practice, we develop the courage that we need to be vulnerable enough to embrace our wholeness and to stand in the truth of who we really are. Meanwhile, if you're tempted to live somebody else's life, to live by somebody else's rules, the invitation is to remember to be yourself. Everybody else is already taken, and so it is. And so I invite you to turn within as I take a moment to anchor these thoughts in prayer. With my eyes closed and my attention turned inward to that spark of the divine, that Christ consciousness within me, I am acutely aware of the power and presence of the divine. I know that it is eternal. I know that it is everywhere at all times in its fullness and in its wholeness. I know that I am one with it. That right where I am, that presence is as a hologram of the divine. That nothing is missing. Everything is whole, perfect, and complete. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is absolutely the truth of each and every person sitting here today, each and every person listening live to this service, and everyone that may perhaps listen at some other later time. All sentient beings on the planet, we are all divine emanations of the One, ambassadors of its presence. And it's from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly knowing that we are spiritual beings. First and foremost, we are spiritual beings, created as such, out of that God stuff. That we have within us everything that we need to live the life that we came here to live. And so I claim ease and grace around us doing so, around us powerfully stepping into our true self, our authentic self. Whatever that looks like, for each of us to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is why we're here. That whatever that looks like, it is unique unto each and every single one of us, and that it is our job, our calling to bring that forward into the world in our own unique way, that without us doing so, it will not be revealed. A puzzle piece will be missing. And so I claim ease and grace around powerfully stepping into our authentic selves, into our authentic lives, supporting each other as we do so through spiritual community and prayer. I know that as we do so, we allow others to do so. And in doing that, we literally can change the world, creating a world that absolutely works for everyone. And I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I speak them and I release them into that law, letting go and letting God be God. I invite all of us to anchor these words for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. And this is a time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and others. Together, we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the energy of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give, and they're on the screens, whether you're at home or you're here. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. You can text the word give to 919-230-8445, or you can mail your gift to P.O. Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. I now invite you to please place your hand on your hearts with your gift or a blessing for yourselves or for someone else or for our community, and repeat our offering affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. As the baskets are being passed, a second basket will be coming by that has some scrolls in it. Now, on the scroll is a prayer for cultivating authenticity that was written in the Science of Mind magazine for this month. And I thought it was an absolutely beautiful prayer, and I wanted to share it with everyone with the idea that perhaps we could all be saying that prayer out loud for ourselves and for our community out loud, knowing that whenever two or more are gathered with the same idea, the same consciousness, that everything is expanded. So please take that gift with my love, and I just invite everyone to try it out, see what happens, right? If you say it every day for the rest of this month. And now, as the baskets continue to be passed, please welcome the awesome Sandy Hemingway back to his piano.
So this song is one that I co-wrote with a friend of mine, Elaine Penn. It's called These Hands. And before I start, I want to ask you to do something, which is look at your hands and repeat after me. These hands have power beyond belief.
Have power beyond belief.
It's time for us to use our words and hands and feet to be a voice of truth and help a world in need. It's time to see the worth in every single life. Heal the earth, it's time to shine our light. These hands have power beyond belief. These hands have power to achieve. These hands touch somebody, waves begin to roll. Ripples run like rays of sun. No one knows just where they'll go. Yes, they can change the world. These hands. So raise your flag up high until the world is free. Nail your colors bright to a wall of peace. Light a blazing fire. Play an old peace song. Now's the time to stand together strong. These hands have power beyond belief. These hands have power to achieve. When these hands touch somebody, waves begin to roll. Ripples run like rays of sun. No one knows just where they'll go. Yes, they can change the world. These hands. Let's build a table made of grace, where we are can have a place. These hands have power waves begin to roll. Ripples run like rays of sun. No one knows just where they'll go. Yes, they can change the world, these hands. Yes, they can change the world, these hands. These hands.
So beautiful. Thank you, Sandy. I have a new appreciation for these hands. If anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the home page, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all the ministers and practitioners. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. And now for some fun stuff. Join us on Friday, May 10th for our TCSL game night. It will be held at the Lodge at Crossroads at 200 Brisbane Woods Way in Cary. We will be there as early as 6:30 with the game starting at 7. Bring a snack to share if you would like. Join us for fellowship and fun. Our annual town hall meeting will be held following the service on Sunday, March 12th. That's next Sunday. It's an opportunity to engage with our leadership and to talk about all things center, answer your questions, entertain ideas and suggestions that you may have, and share all the ways that we can serve the community as stewards of the community in the highest and best way for all. And remember that all of our events are on our website at trianglecsl.org. And now, in the comfort of your home or here, please stand for our March affirmation. This is a call and response, and please repeat it with meaning. In order to love and accept myself exactly as I am, I do the inner work to discover who that is.
In order to love and accept myself exactly as I am, I do the inner work to discover who that is.
Doing so allows me to see beyond my masks, to get in touch with my real thoughts and feelings.
Doing so allows me to see beyond my masks, to get in touch with my real thoughts and feelings.
Being in a spiritual community with like-minded people supports my journey of cultivating authenticity.
Being in a spiritual community with like-minded people supports my journey of cultivating authenticity.
They create a loving space for me to powerfully step into the courage I need to be vulnerable.
They create a loving space for me to powerfully step into the courage I need to be vulnerable.
I have the courage to do and to boldly let my life shine.
I have the courage to do so and to boldly let my light shine.
When I am vulnerable with others, I invite others to be vulnerable with me.
When I am vulnerable with others, I am inviting them to be vulnerable with me.
Authenticity is a practice that I choose to begin today.
Authenticity is a practice that I choose to begin today.
I am worthy. I am love. I am enough. And so it
I
is.
am worthy. I am loved. I am enough.
And so it is. And now, please turn within for our benediction. Thank you, all you wonderful beings of light, for being here with us. And I know that as you shine your authentic self out into the world, that all of our lives, including yours, benefit. And so I'm grateful to be a part of you as we take on this new practice or continue our practice of being authentic and expressing the real selves that we are with love. And so it is.
Everybody please stand and we'll sing ourselves out with Thank You for This Day. Thank you very much, Sandy. Wonderful week. And I hope to see you all back here next week, not only for the service itself, but also for the town hall meeting. Join us at Scratch Kitchen in just a short little while to celebrate all of those with the March birthdays. It's a great way to do that for our lunch bunch. I love you all. Have a great week.